What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your boy Gage. And I'm here with my man Jokes, my man Adam Butler. You're now tuned in to Good Conversation and Shenanigans. This is a show where we get together and everybody brings their own topic. And we have no idea what each other's topics are. Feel like it's better for the conversation that way. So we're going to have some good conversation, and I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans. But before we get into that, the first thing I want to do is I want to ask you gentlemen to introduce yourselves. I'm going to start with you, Jokes. Some of you guys might know Jokes from Loading Snacks, but if you don't,
just a little bit.
If you don't, Jokes, tell them about yourself, man.
So Jokes, one of the members of the Loading Snacks crew. So you may catch us weekly at cons, wherever it may be at. When you don't see me at the cons, I play video games, I watch anime, do a little bit of everything on there for it. Like I was talking to Gage right beforehand. He called me. He was like, "Why the sirens going off like in the back?" I'm like, "That's Law and Order, dude." It's like, "Oh, okay." I'm just making sure. But I love those shows like Law and Order, Chicago PD. I will binge the hell out of those jumps.
Yeah, you hooked. You're hooked. You get hooked.
Just a little bit.
What's up, man? So, all right, so how do people follow you, man, if they want to find you?
Easiest place. I've managed to get my name everywhere. New Joker 89. So that's NU Joker 89. The numbers.
Yeah.
Easy enough. Okay. Everywhere.
Adam, welcome back. This is the second appearance on Good Conversation for you.
Second.
Fill the people in, man. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man, podcaster. One of those podcasts on Fox Sports and iHeartRadio. New episode will be out every Tuesday. I was about to say tomorrow, but I keep them on Tuesday. New episodes are out every Tuesday on the iHeartRadio app and also on the Up On Game Network YouTube channel. You can also check out my personal podcast, The Butler Did It. I post that when I feel like it, but it's a couple of episodes up, well, quite a few episodes up on my YouTube, which is The Butler Did It Podcast Pro. You can also follow me on Instagram, MSR_Adam, and you can follow me on TikTok, which we just got finished talking about, The Butler Did It Podcast. And yeah, I got all sorts of stuff going on there. Sneaker content, sports content, lifestyle content. It all is everywhere.
Bro, we got to get you a link tree, a beacon, something.
I have one. I have a link tree.
Okay.
Boom. Yeah. I've seen you.
If they go to your Instagram, they can find the link tree. Hit everything.
Yes.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Mm-hmm. All right. So look, again, like there's no real reason to beat around the bush, man. There's a lot happening in the world today, but we came here to have some good conversation and I want to know what's on your mind. So everybody got a good topic?
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. I like.
Okay, go, Jokes. You got it.
Hey,
I'm good with that, Jokes. Lay it on me, bro. What's the topic? Let's talk about it.
So, if you guys don't know, I'm pretty sure between the three of us, I'm the youngest cat that's here right now. But but as time takes its toll, priorities, thoughts, things like that start to shift. And, you start to like ponder on different things. Yeah. And one of the things that I think about sometimes, regrets. Now, at points in time, I'm sure everybody has had something maybe they regret doing, regret not doing. It can be a mix of every which way that you look at it. I think I've gotten to a point where I don't necessarily want to say like, I regret something and mope on it. Like I kind of look at it as being like an experience type of thing. And I think this has kind of been a way that I've started to shift the way that I think of things. A lot of people know, like, well, what? Some people know, some people don't know. I attended Delaware State for a brief period of time. Mm-hmm. And I would say, I regret the fact that I never finished at Delaware State. Mm-hmm. But because of the fact that I didn't finish, I've had a lot of opportunities and things that have come my way. Yeah. So I look at it as, you know what? Maybe I don't regret the decision that I never finished Delaware State, but maybe that was a different opportunity. If I've gone that route, maybe, of course I probably would have ended up in a different scenario or whatnot ever for it, but I don't look back on it as a negative experience. And I think a lot of people look back on their regrets and always associate them to negative type of things. Yeah. And I think I've gotten a different mindset around that.
What happened that changed that mindset? Like, using Delaware State for example,
Mm-hmm.
not finishing was something you used to regret, and now you don't regret it.
Yeah.
Is that where we are? What changed? Is it just like I had a birthday? You know what I'm saying? I'm in my 30s now, and like it's no point, or like what brought about that change?
Life, I think. You know, I will never discourage someone going to school, getting what they want to do.
Right.
But I feel like I learned a lot after the fact that, you know what, to get to certain areas or certain things that I want to do, I don't necessarily need to pay X, Y, and Z amount of money to get this one little piece of paper just to show that I can execute. Like for me, I'm in the field of IT. When I found out that you could get these certificates, essentially they get you into the same areas that someone pays to go to a 4-year college just to say that they have the one sheet of paper. Like I have friends that they didn't finish school, but they went and got all these certificates. Right. And they're in the fields that they wanted to be in from doing this versus going to school. And I'm like, man, if I'd have known this type of thing, you know, beforehand, maybe I would have shifted the way I would have done things. Maybe I would have gone to community college first. You know, I didn't want to do that. I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm skipping that. I'm just going to this 4-year. I'm just going to do it up and do it this one time. Yeah. But as you start to get older, you realize these things. You know what? Maybe it would have been different if I did this 2-year experience. Maybe gone in doing the 2-year, got the associates, and then said, you know what? I think I got what I need. I'm in the field that I want to be in. Maybe I don't necessarily need to finish this side. But then you may decide that, hey, you know what? It's time to put the foot back in. Let's do it. But I think,
are you considering like going after said certificates or something
100%?
Now? Okay.
Like I've started doing like some of these courses. Like a lot of people don't know. Like some of these courses you can get relatively cheap. At one point in time, you can actually get them for free if you know certain ways to look about them and doing it. So I'm always the type that's trying to better myself in the things that I can do. And whether it ends up, you know, maybe I get said things, but you know what, maybe I don't use it, but you know what, I've gained another piece of knowledge. And the knowledge is something that I feel like when you have that, you can be a dangerous person with that knowledge, depending on how you use it.
Go ahead, Adam.
Now I was gonna say, you know, it's funny. I was just talking to my wife about how there's this gig economy happening now, and how things are different. And as you were talking jokes, I was thinking about that. Like, you know, what do I have a regret? I don't operate off regrets. I don't like that. But for the sake of conversation, I will say I spent a lot of time in my late teens, early 20s trying to find a real job. Right. When I knew I wanted to do this forever, right? I knew I wanted to be, now mind you, this is the early 2000s, the aughts or whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
And content creation wasn't a big deal. There was no YouTube even. Y'all know this, you know, there was no YouTube, there was no avenue. It was like, oh, you're going to go work at the TV station, you're going to work in movies, or you're going to work at the radio station, and you better be able to get up in there. So that's why I say I don't really operate with regrets. But as long as you guys know me, especially Gage, do my adult life, you know, Mainstream Radio, you know, I found a way to do this.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have figured that out a little earlier.
Sure.
Now I am a full-time content creator. I get paid, like, you know, I got a 401k, all that from content creation. It's not like a gig. I have a full-time job in content creation, and I have this. And also, you know, I'm saying this for a reason. I get paid doing the What Are Those podcasts. All that is wonderful, and the journey matters. I often sometimes wonder if I would tell my son or my daughter, get into it quicker, because for a long time, because jokes, you're talking about like the degree and all that, which I didn't finish school either, right? I went to 2-year and did a little bit of a 4-year and then said, man, I'm done.
Right.
My earning potential was a problem for a while.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Now that content creation is a thing and you can, you know, your skill set can reflect in different ways. Now more people appreciate what I do, right?
Yeah.
And my hustle has paid off. So things I wanted like 5 years ago, I'm able to get now. I would just tell my kids, get on it quicker so you can have that earning potential quicker. Get into what you want to do quick. Get in there. hustle at it. So you won't be at 40 trying to catch up.
Yep.
You can
Right.
be at 25, you can get your house, you can get all these things that a lot of my friends were able to do because they worked their government job or they just did the job.
Wow.
And they probably love what they do. While I was out here hustling, and let's just keep it real. When you a dude and a black dude and you out here hustling, it's like that broke rapper mentality. All due respect to my MCs out there, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that starving artist thing. A lot of people look at you like, grow up. Now I can look at them and go, ha ha ha, I'm doing what I do when I get paid to do it. But for a long time, I wasn't able to say that. And that did make me feel a certain way. And it made me hustle harder. I'm talking about my hands. It made me hustle harder. And I don't regret a thing. But I would teach my children, if you want to do something, go do it. Don't worry about what I even think. Don't even worry about what I think. Go do it so you can make money at it. So you can live a normal life, so you can be ahead on your credit, ahead on your home ownership, ahead on these things that I was a little bit behind on because I was working for free or working for pennies. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and doing it for self. I mean, I think for a long time I was all about the music and the industry and following that path or whatever. And in doing that, I worked. I had to work because I had a mouth to feed.
I was say,
but and I don't. Regret is a tricky thing, man.
Yeah, it is.
Well, they say hindsight is 20/20, and generally it is, right? And so I think it's easier to regret anything.
Absolutely.
But I think the one thing I feel like if I could go back and tell myself something or give myself advice that I know I would listen to because it came from me, it would have been to really put more effort and time. I would have hoped to gain a better understanding of how important it was to network much earlier.
Yeah.
How important it was to shake hands, to be in certain circles, or to just be in the room.
Yeah, those for certain.
Just being in the room sometimes, being around people, like the idea of there was a younger version of me that always wanted to be the smartest in the room. I never was the smartest in the room, right? I just didn't want to be. I wanted to always be able to hold a conversation with anybody, no matter what situation I was in. So while I may not be the most knowledgeable about a particular subject, I could kind of pick and choose my conversations and speak with everybody and talk a little bit about everything. But I didn't learn that until much later, right? I didn't figure that out until much later. And if I had known, I would have spent more time making sure I surrounded myself with more people who were smarter than me, who knew more than me, because those are people I could gain something from. Right. So now I spend a lot of time trying to dispel that kind of knowledge to other people. Trying to make sure that they're in the right place at the right time. I think for a long time I didn't recognize my own potential. Right. I didn't see and in some cases, like I would choose not to maybe take a position, right? Like I should probably, I could be moving up in this company. And that's not the time for me to do that though, because for real, by the sign this deal, I'm gonna be out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When those things happen, when like the actual paperwork was presented to us and it was signed, felt like it was said and done, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And so I really think, in terms of just regret as a whole, I don't think those are necessarily regrets for me. Because I'm a firm believer in the butterfly effect. I feel like if you change any one little thing, it's changing it all. I like, for all the things that I would rather have not dealt with, like I wouldn't give up my kids. I wouldn't give up that time or that space or what have you. So regret is a thing that I don't focus on regret. kind of like you said, just focus on making sure that I take the lessons from whatever those mistakes were, whatever that thing was.
Decisions.
You have to take that and be able to use that knowledge going forward.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that 100%. That's why I say I would tell my kids, and I always have to say, like, I have to say it to myself so I don't make the same mistakes I made back then. Because you said something, Gage, that really made me think, man, like networking was never really my thing either, because I always felt like if I get really good at what I do, someone's going to see it and someone's going to appreciate it and they're going to put me on. And it took me a long time to realize, like, and honestly, some really ugly feelings that I'm not even proud of, honestly, like true feelings of envy and jealousy of other people that just pop because I'm like, I'm better than you. Like I did an episode of Butler did it when I talked about this, like, you know, I called it Everybody Got a Damn Podcast, and I called it that as clickbaity for a reason, because I wanted people to think it's but really what I was trying to say is that that's envy speaking. That's me going, man, I'm better. When it don't matter if you better or not. The lessons the lessons I've learned is that, one, appreciate the audience you have, and I know y'all understand that. Appreciate the audience you have. Appreciate the people that appreciate you, right? And also, someone congratulated me recently, you know, on you know, my wife or whatever, me and my wife and my baby, and they added in there, "Are you going to do a new episode?" And I remember thinking, like, "Yo, you listen." Thank you. You know what I mean? And so I appreciate that so much more. And now I'm more happier in my work. And now it's no coincidence that now that I'm happy in my work, the rewards are coming.
Translating to your life.
Translate. Yep.
I agree 100%, man. I don't think regret. I mean, you go through that, man. Like, again, we came up through the music scene. It's very easy to see somebody like sign a deal or have a song on the radio, and you're like, "Hey, Slim is garbage." Right? But again, like, I think the other thing for me is, like, I had to learn. I didn't know how to see the whole picture, right? And I didn't know how to see the whole picture because I didn't have the experience of seeing that picture. I didn't really know what managers and A&Rs and people like that were looking for, right? And so, my ability to see that from a strictly ability standpoint, I know my team of rappers is way better than their team of rappers. Like, we'll body them, right? But when you sit down with somebody and they're talking about whether or not you're marketable, whether or not they can actually put you out in front of people, whether or not you have stage presence and stage training, or you're just really great, right? Like, there's a lot of people who make an incredible living just ghostwriting. You know what I'm saying? And getting no credit for the stuff they do because they sign that thing and it says they're a ghostwriter. But they know they're prolific, right? And the people who are important within the industry know, if you want a banger, this is who you go to, right? But the general public don't even know their names. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they're not even listed in the credits for writing. Like, they don't. So it's that, you know, you learn to look at that kind of stuff very differently, right? Put content together, whether it's for loading snacks or whether it's for something like this. You know, this is personal for me, right? This is just, I really like to sit down with people and have conversation about things that are going on in their heads, what's happening in people's lives or whatever. And we spend a lot of time talking about video games and TV shows and X-Men and, you know, whatever else, which I absolutely love to do, and I can do it all day. One trick pony, right? I can talk about all kinds of things, and I have, personally, I feel like a lot of insight, and I want to be able to share that. But I also have a vast network of people who have a lot of insight, right? Who have a lot of experience and can bring that to the table, can bring that to the platform. And so that's really what something like this is about. And it is kind of being able to say, when I look at the bigger picture and I put this in front of, who would listen to this? Who would watch this, right? And when you start writing raps, you really writing for yourself. Like, you might have a target audience, but you don't even know what that really means. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're 14, 15, whatever. You know, you just writing raps and you hoping people get excited, right? You're not sitting in an office where somebody goes, "That's great where you are, but I can't sell that.
Sell that.
Right. Which is so foreign for a creative.
Exactly. It's like people who do crazy well, like playing professional ball in like Germany. Or something like that. And all we really think about is the NBA. But nah, they living real good.
They living good and they doing what they love.
Exactly. And so I think regret is tricky because I think a lot of times regret is based in the only outcome you thought you could see for yourself.
Right.
And as you age up, you begin to see the different number of outcomes that were possible, right? And that you ended up in one of those and that you still ain't done yet. Right? And so, there's a lot more you could put into that.
You got a lot more. The road is long, and you got to keep at it. You know what I mean? You got to keep at it, man. You really got to keep plugging. You got to keep being creative, and you're going to learn lessons along the way. Like, it's not that, what I know now, I'm sure I'm going to look back and go, yo, I could have did that better. And now I'm applying it now. And it goes for any field. Joe, you were talking about like the IT field, and it goes for anything. It's not just being a creative. You know what I mean? A lot of people, we came up in a time, honestly, it's just so different. And, I don't know how I'm not speaking for anyone's parents, and my parents are amazing, but it was also like, and we're also men. So it's also like, look, you got to get out here and you got to make some money. And we did. We all worked jobs. I worked all sorts of jobs. You know what I mean? I worked at UPS. I worked at a housing spot. Like I did all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? But if I could just tell what I will tell my kids is that when they're older and they're getting ready to get into the, show their interest or whatever it may be, it's like, okay, all you got to do is work hard at whatever it is and make sure you, like you said, Gage, make good connections because no matter how great you are, you can be the best. You can be the best. If no one knows it, it doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah. If no one likes you, it doesn't matter.
If no one rocks with you, it doesn't matter. I always appreciate, like, when you ask me to do this podcast, bro, when people ask me, I'm boys from 8 More and 92, I'm just shouting out people that ask me to do their podcast on the radio, I always appreciate that, man, because that says you at least appreciate that I can come on here and do this. And, some people don't even have that. Some people sitting at home like, man, if I could just be a guest on someone's podcast. People out here paying to be on people's podcasts.
Oh, it takes a handshake. Like, literally, you getting to someone. And that's something, younger. I didn't, just like you said, Gage, like, I wish I would have, like, I've met a lot of people throughout the years that have just between making tons of money from doing certain things, just being in those positions, and I've shaken their hand, and what, you've gotten that look like, what, you got something there, but I didn't take that and run with it. Like, I wish I would have known, say, hey, this is someone that I should get to know, see what they're working with, and see if we can collaborate or do whatever for it. But just shaking of the hand is just one of those things. Well, maybe I should say fist bump now. I know with the way things are, the fist bump, like
sometimes it's exchanging cards, whatever it happens to be.
Right.
Information with people, showing a certain level of mutual respect.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've had happen to us very recently, in dealing with Lotus Nights, like we've been doing it for so long that there are people who, like, it's really the first time we've maybe had the opportunity to invite them to come on the show or to do something there. And we've had people be like, man, I've been waiting for y'all to ask me. And like people kind of tell you like, man, I felt like maybe I didn't want me, you know what I'm saying, to be on your show, whatever. And it's like, man, it's never like that. It's just, we so busy and we a lot of people, we're trying to shake a lot of hands and you can't, you just don't, schedules don't always align or, whatever it is, but you don't necessarily realize the impact that you're having. Because not everybody says it to you, right? Not everybody who likes what you do, enjoys what you do, or even listens intently and takes advice from you will ever tell you that. You may never hear it. You might not know it at all. You just have to kind of you keep doing what you're doing because you love it, because you want to do more of it. And like, I don't know, man, social media kind of muddies the waters because you get so caught up in, now everybody has ratings. You just needed, if you had a show or you had, you know what I'm saying, whatever, like you could get into the analytics of what my show is what my broadcast is. I'm in radio. This is what I do. I have to look at how many people are listening and what time they're in tune and advertising and stuff like that. Now, just having and just being alive, almost certainly means having a social media account, which is having an audience. It means having ratings. And every person is somehow tied into the number of likes. Right? The number of likes, and you post things so that you get more likes, and you do things so that you get more likes. And it's odd to me because you would think that more people may have an understanding of why companies or individuals do things the way they do, because they do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, post this. Let me hold on. Let me turn a little bit. Let me make sure I got my phone straight. You know what I'm saying? I take 12 pictures. I post one joint.
Right.
75 likes.
Right.
That's it. Like you don't, you know what I mean? Like you have no idea. It's kind of like everything else. When you go to the movies and you watch a movie, you're seeing the final edited product, quote unquote, right? Because you know, whatever. Maybe they do a black and white release that comes 2 years later, or whatever, that has a bunch of extra content that didn't get released in the theater. Sometimes that happens, but for the most part, right? Like what you hear when you hear it on Spotify, what you hear on the radio, what you see when you go in the theater, that is the final edited product. That is a version of someone's vision. I can guarantee you that it's very different from what was written originally. I can guarantee you it's different from what was storyboarded originally.
It's been workshopped.
Exactly, right? Because other people get involved, and somebody else says, you know what, this is too long, or
throw some ideas around
here, or you know, whatever it is, right? And so I tell people all the time, right? Like your favorite actor, you have no idea how great of an actor they actually are unless you've seen them in a play. Because somebody's yelling, cut, do it again, cut, do it again. Wait, shoot it from this angle. Listen, I need a little more emotion from you. Let me get this out of you. Okay, boom, right? And they do 15, 20 takes.
Find that perfect one.
One of them takes right one. The final product, right? And you in the theater like, oh my goodness, you boo, whatever. Oh my God, you deserve an Oscar. Do they though? Or does the director deserve it? Or does the editor deserve it? Or does you know? So it's the same kind of like that idea of being able now to like say, okay, I have my life. I can't go back and edit it. That's kind of what regret is like. Regret is like wishing you could go back and edit it so that the final version that people get, but your final version isn't over yet. You're still making things and changing things and doing things as you go. And as long as you're picking things up along the way and applying them going forward, you know, the final version that people do get, let's call it the obituary. You know what I mean? And even then, sometimes y'all know as well as I do, the obituary don't actually read like what it was.
It's all your good stuff.
It's edited. Right. Just like social media is, and in a lot of cases, like we sometimes wish our lives could be. And I think that's where regret comes from. I think being able to get away from regret means getting yourself out of editing mode and into adjusting on the fly.
It is.
That's
you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. Hey, Jones, I like that topic, man.
That was a good one, bro.
I like that. That's pretty good, man.
Good one.
Adam, what you got, bro?
All right, this is a total 180 from
I love it.
That's great topic. I love that one, man. All right, so I've been living in television bliss for the past 2 weeks. Okay. I am quite possibly, you know, I'm a big X-Men fan. Close to X-Men, I am quite possibly the biggest Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones guy.
Really?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Okay. However, we all know that George was inspired by Tolkien. Okay. And, you know, he says that straight up. Well, the new Game of Thrones is out, House of the Dragon. But there's another one coming, I think, this week.
The Rings of Power joint?
Power. Okay. Game of Thrones has a head start. It already has all the acclaim. Everybody's, you know, been, you know, appreciating, at the very least, appreciating the last 2 episodes that just came out, what have you. But when it's all said and done, in your opinion, my guys who are, in my opinion, the kings of culture, okay, That's why I appreciate bringing this stuff up to y'all. Last I was on your show, I brought up a movie topic too, because y'all are the guys I can talk to this about. Okay. Which show do you think, when it's all said and done, will be the bigger show? Rings of Power or House of the Dragon?
Oh, man. Okay. Let me do a couple of things.
Okay.
Let me start by saying I am not a Game of Thrones fan, which bothers so many people.
I was about to say, how did I know that?
I'm about to say, I'm going to add on to that. So, not to say that I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, I have not finished Game of Thrones.
Interesting.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I only made it through the first episode.
Are you kidding me? Of the original show?
The original show.
Damn.
Listen, all right, so it's a couple of things.
I challenge you to finish, dog.
It's a couple of things.
Okay.
One, I didn't jump on it when it first hit. And so there was all like any hype something.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
I really try to steer clear of it until the hype clears, because that's what happened to me with 300. I didn't see 300 in the theater. Everybody was hyping it. You know what I'm saying? I'm working at Best Buy, right? I'm a movie dude. People are like customers are coming in, people coming in. I'm talking about like people are just coming in the store and just yelling out, "This water!" Like they are like they really selling.
That was a dope scene, bro.
And I bought the very first Samsung 120 hertz TV, right? My first flat screen, wide screen, 16:9 joint with the 120 hertz. Listen, bought an HD DVD player. HD. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get 300. This is the perfect thing for me to watch day one right here. Took the TV home, hooked it up, hooked everything up, invited people over. Come on, let's watch 300. I got a new TV, joint. Like, again, this is, like nobody really had it.
Right.
And I sat down and watched that joint and was like, right? And here's the thing. I was not a fan of the 300 comic before the movie came. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going in completely blind, which is not real common for me when it's that kind of content. Going in completely blind. From the commercials and the way people talked it up, for me, 300 was these 300 men who stood up to these armies of men that just kept coming.
Right.
And the moment I seen like people disappearing and like, what is this?
You weren't expecting a comic book. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I was like, and for real, dog, like it's dudes who could like disappear and be behind you. These 300 dudes did not do this. Like it just, I wasn't sold anymore, right? And for me, the best part of that entire movie was the kick. It was the kick. The kick happened in the beginning of the movie. And I saw it.
Yeah.
And everybody I know tried to reenact that joint.
Yeah.
I seen this 100 times.
It's in the commercial. It's like it's the commercial.
It's literally in the commercial. It's literally the thing that made you go see the movie.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So Game of Thrones, I finally got talking to watch this. People still, the hype never went away. So that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Hype never went away. I said, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give it 3 episodes. If I'm not sold by 3 episodes, I'm out. Right? And I watch a lot of content.
Yeah, I understand.
First episode, and like we spoiling stuff here. I'm just gonna tell you now.
I mean, this show is.
I was how many years at this point now?
Yeah.
First episode, I can't even remember his name. The little boy, like early in the episode,
Bran Stark.
This Brammer was climbing the side of the castle.
I
was like, hey, this little dummy, he's coming off that wall.
Yeah.
And it was like, didn't I tell you don't climb the wall? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, dog. And when that episode, not that I wasn't shocked by what he seen when he got up to the top of the window.
Yeah.
But the fact that he took the tumble, and I called that joint like 30 minutes earlier, I was like,
no, throw it out.
Okay.
I had to I had to work through season 1. Like it I didn't.
So you made it through season 1, Jokes?
I made it through season 1,
Okay.
and we had the epic ending of season 1. I was like, oh, this show gonna come back in season 2, and like the axe dude like fake cut my man's head off or whatnot ever. And then I went to season 2, and that joint just kicks off. My man just holding his head. I was like,
the bloody, yeah, buddy.
And I was like, oh, nobody's safe in this joint.
Dead Ned Stark.
Something else came out that took my attention away from Game of Thrones, and I don't remember what it was. Honestly, you know what? Actually, I take that back. I think it may have been the Arrowverse. Even though it was on 2 separate things, that got more of my full attention on it. I think. I don't know. Something took my attention off of Game of Thrones. Okay. And I just never went back to it. And I own the first 3 seasons. Yeah. I don't even think I cracked the 3rd season open. I just never went back to it.
All right, so look. So here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's where I'm at. In terms of like what you're asking, though. I like Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings. I think over the years I've decided that I like Lord of the Rings because I'm supposed to, and not necessarily because I do. Right? Like Lord of the Rings is a rite of passage, especially coming up in my era. Like I would, they would show like the old animated joint every year. Yeah,
I remember that. Yep.
We would
and the Hobbit. Yep.
Exactly. So I knew it and knew about it forever. It feels like it's been a part of my life my entire life, right?
Yeah.
And when the movies came out, it was like, yo, it looks like they really gonna take this joint and do it some justice. And the truth of the matter is, loved all 3 of those joints. Felt like they did an incredible job with it.
Cinematic classics, wonders.
They just
cinematic.
And to take Tolkien's work and make it what that was, which isn't something I hadn't seen before, just hadn't seen it in live action.
Yeah.
I was all about it. Like I was buying box sets and then the extended versions, and
that's what I was because this is pre anything Marvel. So it was like when you told me something was gonna be 4 hours, I was like, hold the hell up.
And they told you straight up, it's 3 of them. It's not like we make you one and you gotta wait. That's how it was a lot of times. Like they made one and you assume maybe they're gonna make another one. This was the trailer. I remember the trailer for Lord of the Rings. I was going to see 300, matter of fact. I think I was going to see 300. No, maybe not. I was going to see something. I was in the theater and I remember the trailer and it was like the epic trilogy. And I remember thinking like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen. I'm sure it's happened before. Actually, I'm not sure it's happened before.
And said
they
said
it was a
all right, so here's the thing. The Rings of Power is like an offshoot. Right? This is not something Tolkien wrote.
Yeah, a lot of people upset about it.
This is other people coming in and kind of adding in side stories or whatever.
Build on whatever they can.
And I'm not saying it can't be good. Like the Shadow of Mordor games, I love them. I love what they did with the story and kind of that it was like an offshoot and it's happening as the major things are happening from the books and the movies.
Right.
I feel the same way about this new Game of Thrones show, though. Like, I think,
but that is something George wrote,
right? And that's and I think that might be what the difference is.
Yeah,
is that there's also the possibility, though, that it receives way more scrutiny because it's something that George. Right? So I think it's super hard to say. Which one comes out on top.
Yeah.
I will say, I think that the Lord of the Rings is easier to mess up. That's what I think.
Yes.
Because it's much older. There's a lot more lore that a lot more people are familiar with. And there are way more people that I think could potentially be unhappy with what happens in that than with Game of Thrones. Yeah. I think Game of Thrones is much more. Forget the time and place that it takes place in. Forget the setting. It feels a lot more like what people are going through now, just in regular politics. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it feels more up to date as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. It's super hard to say which one's going to end up being the better of the two shows. But if I had to put my money on it, I put it on the one that the originator is writing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, at least you get that. You kind of got that same vision, and it's like, you know what, this world. I got this world in my mind, so you know what, I can kind of build around what I want to get to. Not saying that they can't do that with Lord of the Rings. Like I think the video games for Lord of the Rings have, just like you said, have shown us a way that they can explore and do it. Like, I love the games when they first came out. The first one was a little bit different in comparison to the other two because they switched over to EA, if I remember right. That's probably one of the few things that I actually think I enjoyed from EA back then. But I feel like both shows have a bigger world. Like, I feel like they have gigantic worlds, but for some reason I feel like the Lord of the Rings world somehow can be bigger. Like, I don't know if that quite makes sense, like, because you can expand and do what you want, but for some reason I feel like the universe that Lord of the Rings could potentially do is bigger than that of Game of Thrones. I feel like Game of Thrones has this kind of, I don't want to say bottlenecked into the same, like we're talking like the House of Dragon, like we're keeping everything within the same confines, and we're going to try this connection of sort and kind of keep it all together. I feel like Lord of the Rings could come out of, what the original story is about. Don't get me wrong, Lord of the Rings, it's in the title. You can't really get away from it as much. But I don't know. I feel like the world just has much substance. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. And now this is coming from a guy that still has not finished watching Game of Thrones yet. I could finish watching it, and opinion can change in a heartbeat.
Your opinion will change. Your opinion will change.
I was just going to say, because Adam, as somebody who is a fan of both and who has watched all of Game of Thrones, like, where are you leaning? What is your expectation?
I'm leaning Game of Thrones, but and I have many thoughts. Okay, so to answer that question, why? Game of Thrones, like, is inspired by Tolkien, but it's not Tolkien, right?
Sure.
So it takes what George loved about Tolkien and makes it into adult content, right? So you can watch. So this show, the last show, was all about, obviously it was based on the Song of Ice and Fire books. So you were all over the place. Speaking of that world, like, that world expanded every season. You were all over his planet, whatever that planet is called, right? Yeah. Westeros, Essos, you were all over the place. This show is actually shrunk down on purpose because it is about one family. And so because the world got so big, people want to see this one family, but they still expand. There's still a lot of things that goes on in these books, which were called I forget the name of the books right now. My B. It'll come to me. So I do think this show had already been a show, and that's key. It had already been a show that people loved, and people were disappointed. Not me, but some people were disappointed by the ending of it. So you had
we've heard that.
Yeah, you had people. You have not only people that are just like, oh my God, I'm glad this is back. You had people hate watching it, and people that started to hate watch it found out, oh my God, they're actually doing the things that I wanted them to do in seasons 7 and 8 on this show. That lore, the magic, things that they got away from on the last show. So, but I did want to bring this up because as you all were talking, I thought about something. And I thought about the problem that the Lord of the Rings show will have, which I'm going to watch, and I'm sure I'll enjoy because I'm not a crazy critic like that. Y'all know this about me. I've been on your show. Y'all know I'm not the one. It's rarely when I'm like something is stupid or dumb, and if it is, it has to be like it's dumb, right?
Yeah, I do that.
That's his motto.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. But I have enjoyed most of the Star Wars stuff that's come out on Disney Plus, right? There's nothing that's come out on Disney Plus that I like, oh my God, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. Some are way better than others, right?
Yeah.
But I believe that Lord of the Rings will end up having the Star Wars problem. So me and my boy Shannon, we were talking about Obi-Wan, which I actually talked myself out of liking while talking about Rings of Power, right?
And the joint was garbage though.
No.
Nah, hey, bro, Obi-Wan was garbage.
No,
but I enjoy. So I think when I was watching it, I enjoyed scenes like that Vader. Anakin, that Vader Obi-Wan fight was like, geez. But that one right there. Let's just talk about that one, right? So the Star Wars starts off, and this is the problem Lord of the Rings is going to have when someone else is writing it and going, I need to change this. I'm already hearing this about like main characters and certain people that's in the show that shouldn't be in the show, certain people that are doing certain things that shouldn't be doing something. I want to spoil it because, I think people should find out for themselves. But there are certain main characters that their trajectory is already different because someone decided it should be different. That happened with Obi-Wan, right? The Star Wars starts off with Leia. Now you can justify it. It's not a sin, but it starts off with Leia going, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars. You know what else she says after that? She never mentions, and I know you well. You saved my life, this, that, and another. Also, you have established that there was a Jedi out there who had the power, who was powered up enough to not only whoop Vader, but whoop him bad. Like whoop him bad, like sit him down to the point where Vader was useless. He could have killed Vader. We understand why he didn't kill Vader. Why not send him after Palpatine in the war?
I don't understand why he didn't kill Vader. Because the only reason why he didn't kill Vader is because of plot armor. Because clearly he can't move.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. And when I saw it, I liked it. If my wife were right here, she'd tell you. She'd probably be surprised with everything I'm saying. Because when I saw it, I was like, that was cool. But when I thought about it while talking about Lord of the Rings, and my friend who's a big Lord of the Rings guy was going, bro, this ain't supposed to happen. That ain't supposed to happen. I thought about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I go, wow, that's right. He didn't kill Luke when he should have. He done fought the man once. He came back as Darth Vader. He witnessed what Darth Vader was, went through a whole adventure of a television show. Saw that Vader will kill anybody, had him, whooped him easily, showed powers he never had before. I mean, not saying that Obi-Wan could be that strong, but showed powers he never had before, defeated Vader. Why didn't Yoda come from the woods and go, yo, I didn't know you was powered up like that. Let's go get Palpatine.
Let's go finish this.
Let's go finish. Why are we going to wait another 15 years for the boy to grow up?
He's the only one.
There's so many confusing plot holes in Obi-Wan. And just like trying to watch that joint, we would out Spoiler Boys. So every time an episode comes out, we record that, talk about it, man. And like the more I would talk about it, the angrier I would get, and the dumber the show was. Right? And it would just be like, nah, because like Vader really could have killed him a long time. Like Vader's like, they show him as being like ruthless. Like
that was probably my favorite part.
That scene was dope when he was dragging the people through the
Son comes to get him and he just kills Slim. You know what I'm saying? But when Obi-Wan, once he's whooping Obi-Wan, and I get it. He's like, I'm gonna take you back to the ship and I'm gonna torture you. I'm gonna make you
I get it. I'm gonna burn you and
But after he dragged him through the fire, he put the fire out. And then the shot started the fire again.
Here we go.
And all of a sudden, Darth Vader powers don't work no more.
Why couldn't he just grab the ship and board it down?
He couldn't crush the robot joint that went and picked Obi-Wan up. I was like, this joint.
He can't grab Obi-Wan through the fire, but my man can Star Killer yank a ship out.
He can
about to go full force.
So here's what I'm saying about Game of Thrones, right? Why Lord of the Rings is fully capable of making that mistake. By changing what someone did in the past, because this is George's story more so than season 6, 7, and 8 of Game of Thrones were, right? But they were still working with George's skeleton, and that ending is George's ending. People gonna be real blown because that's the ending, of Game of Thrones. But this book is a book that has an ending. It's written. It's not something that George pitched to them and like, you know what, we should do this. It's a book he wrote. Now, the book is written from the in Game of Thrones, they have maesters, those are like the scholars of the universe or whatever. It's written from the maester's point of view, so it's like a fake historical text. So it gives them the ability to color in characters that were not colored in. Like King Viserys is much more, he has detail and life to him as opposed to there was this king, he did this, and this is the mistakes he made. This is his daughter. This is the war they fought. So that's why this one can work. It's already done things in episodes 1 and 2 that actually fill in gaps for Game of Thrones already. I'm sure y'all heard about them already. They've done things that make people go, oh, they're actually repeating literal scenes on same set pieces.
Right.
So it has, I think it has familiarity. It has a fan base already, a huge fan base. Yeah. I think a broader one than the Lord of the Rings in not in the history.
I think more importantly, it has a current fan base.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the only thing. Yeah, because Lord of the Rings at this point right now, outside of like the video games, the newest one like Shadow of Mordor, there's nothing really to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I was actually gonna push back a little bit. I think that Obi-Wan. I think Star Wars has a much bigger audience than Lord of the Rings does.
Yes. Star Wars has the big. I think. Would you say Star Wars has the biggest fan base, or is it Marvel?
Well, I mean, Marvel encompasses so much.
Yeah. I think Star Wars, though.
Star Wars is mostly that Skywalker saga that everybody's tired of. But I just think that there's
bigger than Lord of the Rings
content that has lived in books and comics and stuff like that outside of that, right? Not that Lord of the Rings doesn't have some of that.
Yeah.
But I think that the difference between Star Wars, here's my problem with Lord of the Rings. As much as I love and can respect a standard D&D campaign, I get dwarves and elves and whatever. I think for most people that's way harder to follow.
Yes.
The thing about Star Wars that makes Star Wars so great is how accessible it is, how easy it is to go, oh, they're Knights of the Round Table, or oh, they're samurai, right? There are other things that people already know. Oh,
they're cowboys.
A religion, right? It's a Western, right? So there are all these other tropes, right? Star Wars was meant to be dogfights, but in space, right? So if you understand planes or World War II or Top Gun, right?
You'll understand.
Then you understand Star Wars, right? And you understand the love story, you understand the father-son thing. Hey, bro.
Same with Game of Thrones.
Lord of the Rings is so complicated and so convoluted.
Yes, it's very true.
And the thing that keeps it from being accessible to people is everybody's name is garbage, bro. Everybody's name is garbage, bro.
Bro, it's very true, dog.
When you outside of
Elgor,
again, the beautiful double alliteration that is Marvel everything. Yeah. Right? Peter Parker, Stephen Strange, Bilbo Baggins. It just works, right? Everybody knows Bilbo Baggins, right? Yeah. We're start getting the Aragorn and Arathorn.
Legolas.
What are you talking about?
I say that. I think I know. I think I remember 3 of their names now.
The places they live, Minas Tirith. And all right. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Star Wars doesn't have planets that you know what I'm saying, or whatever, right?
Or names.
But if Lord of the Rings makes you feel like if you don't know where they are and where they're going, the journey's not as important. Yeah. Star Wars, you know what they're trying to do. Yeah. I don't even think most people know what they're trying to do with the ring in Lord of the Rings.
I doubt most people know.
That's true. Water? Absolutely. I mean, is it going into lava? They're trying to hide Sauron. What is happening with the ring? It's called Lord of the Rings, so there must be more than one ring, and there is more than one ring, but they keep referring to it as the one ring.
The one ring.
Yeah.
Hey, no, Lord of the Rings is so complicated that if it hadn't been the visual spectacle that it was when they turned it into live action, that joint would have fell off the planet.
All right, can I clarify one thing?
Do super well.
Can I clarify one thing?
Sure.
Here's why I say a Star Wars problem is because I was referring to outside people writing the story. You're going now. You're not dealing with and so it could end up having that problem. It would take a long time for it to have that problem. You make a great point that the names are super complicated, the story. But once you start making an Andor show and you're making an Obi-Wan show, then you're making a Boba Fett show. But then there's the Mandalorian is super simple. The Mandalorian could have legit just been a
It's just a Western.
It's just a Western. It's a dude and a kid trying to get to the finishing point, right? But once you start adding in all of this lore that you made up, that some people think Star Wars is a kid show. Some people think Star Wars is just battle these knights from back in the day. They want to make an Old Republic show because the video game was cool. They can get to that point. Game of Thrones, like you said about Star Wars, Winterfell, King's Landing, Casterly Rock.
They're words
Just
you understand.
easy.
Words: Robert Baratheon, Ned Stark, Jon
That's
Snow,
what I'm saying.
Daenerys
House
Targaryen.
Stark,
You know
that's
what I'm
so
saying?
easy for people. Yeah.
And it's rare, and there's no elves. Now you do have fantasy elements. You do
Sure.
have, but there's no orcs and elves. It's just basically men and dragons and a few other people that practice some weird religions.
Right.
And that's that.
I think that's the difference. Like I think,
Yeah.
I think that so. Star Wars is attempting to capitalize on for a younger audience and an older audience.
Yeah.
People that already know
balancing.
what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings has to try to capitalize on old people who already care.
There you go.
And I think that makes it a lot harder because I can tell you right now, kids don't care about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's true.
They do not care about Lord of the Rings, right? They're making a new game that's just a Gollum game. Just Gollum, right? People are like, why are you doing a Gollum game? He's probably the most interesting character in the entire joint.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
What they did with Smeagol, with Gollum when that movie came out was incredible. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. You know what I'm saying? That movie did for facial animation
and that actor
what Jurassic Park did. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 years before that or so.
Yeah.
So again, there was more to it that people were there were people that were shock and awe.
Yeah.
Most people, if you'd ask them, what's the dwarf's name in the group of 7?
Yeah. It was like an Avatar effect. Like when Avatar came out, it was, you marveled at the technology and you marveled at the ability. And
I can't even tell you the story other than the fact that the humans and the blue people were fighting. The humans wanted to take over, and the story is super simple. They wanted to take over.
You've ever heard of the Great White Hope? That's what Avatar is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But like, and to your point about Lord of the Rings, the original movies had a better story than Avatar, obviously. Sure. But you're right. Like the thing that made it so groundbreaking at the time was the spectacle of it. It was we never seen anything like that. Star Wars was that in the very beginning, but it grew past that. And Thrones was never that because it was a television show. It was the story that got, once they got away from the story and people's opinion and went more spectacle, that's when people stopped liking the show.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what it's going to be. I think these are shows, when you talk about whether or not one's going to be better than the other, I think these are shows that are being created specifically for their audiences.
Yeah.
Being created for their audiences. And I think that the people creating those shows know that they're for those audiences. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that whoever decided to green light a Lord of the Rings of Power show believed in their hearts that they were going to bring in new people to start liking Lord of the Rings. Like, you're not getting ready to start selling a ton of Lord of the Rings original books because Rings of Power is coming out, right? However, you will sell the original books for Game of Thrones because you will see people go back and stream them, and you will see those things pick up because people are still currently in tune to it, and it's so much easier. It's so much easier to pay attention to it.
I dig that. Actually, I dig that.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings too complicated, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna go back and watch those now. I'm probably gonna be utterly confused.
Lord of the Rings needs a Jeff, bro.
Yeah. But
they
one thing
named Jeff.
they need a Peter and a Paul.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this.
Meet the new king, Jeff.
Yeah, King Jeff of the orcs. One last thing I will say about Lord of the Rings. Now, mind you, the reviews of it have been positive. Okay, but one thing I've seen from the trailer that did not do well, the last trailer they put out, is that they can make the mistake. What I hope they don't do is look at the other thing and go, we need to be more like that and less like ourselves. You can't be Thrones. Like, Thrones is an adult. Things happen on Game of Thrones. No spoilers, but even on these first episodes of this new show, I'm sure you all on the internet, you've heard, there are things that happen that are like, oh my God, like
it's strong.
It's strong. It's strong. It's tough visually. So I'm not sure, I'm not saying that, there's going to be, horrible murders and rapes and stuff like that on Lord of the Rings, but the spectacle or the hey, the mistake that Game of Thrones made towards the end for a lot of people, like I said before, is our dragons are full grown now, so now we need dragon fights. Right. And people were saying, yeah, but what about the story? If you're just going to give me, because you put $1 billion into the Lord of the Rings show, and now you can make your dragon do this, and you can make your whatever's do that, and you can make the explosions bigger, but you take away from the story, especially it's not Tolkien's story, it's some person's story. Right, that could be a problem. I hope not. Yeah. I want them both to work though.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, man. I think there is certainly more potential for the Game of Thrones joint to take off and do better. I think there's a much higher likelihood to see a second season of one versus a second season of the other.
Well, one is already greenlit.
One, y'all was gonna say, I already got it.
Yeah, exactly. So and they were supposed to premiere on the same day, and one pushed their date back.
What was like
decided to come out in theaters.
Like, whoa, we get out the way.
Yeah, let me get out the way of this because John Campion made a good point that now their finales won't come on the same day.
Correct. You can't do that, bro.
Yeah, one was gonna get blown out.
Period.
Stay in your lane. Let one have its fun, and then you can have yours later.
There it
it's
is.
about offsetting by a week, man. It makes such a difference in what people can watch and will watch.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the world we live in with streaming. It's how it is, man. Also, I think there are people who are gonna wait until they completely finish watching one before they even touch the other one, so they can keep track of what's going on from one to the other.
Yeah.
And some people might just decide, like I know a lot of people. I've heard people say that about She-Hulk. Like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna binge this one out. The episodes are short. Now, this isn't the case for Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. These are long episodes, but like I've heard people say that with She-Hulk. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna binge this one out. I'm not gonna try to keep up.
Nope. I'm not risking. Yeah, I'm not risking anything that spoiler come out.
I feel you. Yo, because some things happen. I'm not in love with that show, but there's some things. One thing
I am.
No, I love the show. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but what I feel like they are doing with it is using that joint. Maybe it's because it's one of the last. I think what is this? We in phase 3. We in 3, right? Or 4?
Nah,
4, right? 4. Okay, so this is like towards the end of 4. I think they're using this one
5 and 6.
Yeah, they're using this one to connect everything, and they're using this one as almost. I don't want disrespect if I call it a dumping ground, but a dumping ground for Easter eggs, baby. Like there are Easter eggs.
They've been doing that with all the show, all of the Disney.
But this one more. I feel like this one. There are things that's happened in this show where people have been complaining about the continuity of Phase 4. I don't want to spoil, but things that have
fix some of those things though. That's the thing. I think some of the Easter eggs they're using to try to fix some of those spoiler things,
like this thing,
like some of the Eternal stuff, and
there we go. Yeah,
that's like
we had just had a conversation about that,
right? Yeah, but it's so subtle that most people don't know it, didn't see it at all, have no idea that that's
man fights in bar.
Yeah, exactly. Like my mother said to me earlier today, she was like, I was listening to Spoiler Boys. I completely missed that. I had to go back and rewatch it and look for it. So it's not there for everybody.
Yeah.
But I do think though, I think they're doing the right thing. I think it's a conversation we can have after this is over. But
we could,
I think they're doing the right things, man. We'll see.
Well, that's it for me.
I like the topic. I appreciate it. Anytime we get to talk pop culture, I'm all in.
You know it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all in.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to know. What lies are worth telling?
Philosophy over here, like philosophical.
It crossed my mind the other day. I have a lot of conversations with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have conversations with people about the same thing from the same circle, right? Where I know that certain people don't have some of the information that other people have, right? And I know that they've conversed about it, but haven't necessarily said, but
said something,
right? And I'm not at. It's not for me to divulge such information. Listener, whatever. But it got me thinking, right? Just as a whole, right? What lies are the lies that are worth telling?
I think Oh, sorry, my bad, bro.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think that the quick answer that most people will come up with is ones that protect your loved ones, right? Now,
Sure.
an example of that is difficult to come up with. I was actually trying to think of one
Sure.
and really couldn't, because it's like, anytime there's a lie, someone can argue that a lie is not necessary. But if there's one, if I have to, it's because it's protecting the loved one. It's something grandma didn't need to know. Or it's something one of the kids, you know what? You don't need to know this. Like, I get telling the truth is all, is the right thing. But if it's going to hurt the kid, hurt my wife, whoever it may be. Yeah, but that's a tricky one too. Well, I thought it's tricky.
That is because lies can destroy relationships, businesses, like all those type of things. And it's like, but I get it. There's some that maybe the way to say it is if the person doesn't need the knowledge, they don't need to know. Like I know in certain, it's like, you know what, you can use a job, but you know what, maybe you wouldn't even consider that to be a lie. Right. When you're in certain positions, you have to withhold information, even though said thing about somebody or whatnot before it. Right. But I feel like, personal level, because the issue with it is it could be a small lie, but then if said person finds out and it's like, well, wait a minute, you small said can make big issues. X, Y, and Z. Now I got a problem. So I get where you're coming from. Like, definitely, grandma doesn't need to know this. Break her heart. Like, I get that. But at the same time, it's like, is it worth telling this small lie and then pose the risk that if it comes out what the truth is, then it's like, oh, I've been completely made out for be a liar. Now no one's going to press anything that I say. So it's
tricky, and it's like it also speaks to the level of trust you have for that person, because if you're lying to protect them, you're lying because you think they can't handle it, and that can end up being an insult. Because I thought about it, like I remember I kept something from my mom that had to do with like my dad, nothing even real crazy, but honestly, it's not even nothing like your mind would go to. It wasn't even nothing like that. It was something that when I was younger, I just thought, all right, I don't think my mom should know. I didn't tell her. My father ended up telling her because it was nothing, and she's mad at me. You didn't tell her. Because I didn't tell her, and I knew. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you're right. Like,
how old were you when that?
I was probably like 16. 16, and it was something so stupid, bro. It was basically about my father took my father took my stepmom somewhere, and I knew that was somewhere that my mom liked, and I didn't tell her. Stupid. I'm just saying it's not even as big as it's not like daddy cheated on mama and I didn't tell her. It was like, it was legit stupidity in my young mind, thinking, oh, this is gonna hurt my mom's feelings. And then, her lesson to me was, why didn't you think, like, who do you think you are to not tell me? Like, why do you think I would react a certain way? Like, I deserve the truth. So who are you to keep it from me?
So I guess the question in that situation is, because anytime I come up with a topic, I have kind of layers to it.
Sure.
And one of the things that I have written in here is like, what are there secrets worth keeping?
Yeah.
Because it sounds more like you're talking about keeping a secret.
Yeah, than a lie.
Right.
It's not like you asked me, did he do this? And I said no. I just didn't tell her.
You didn't tell.
Right, exactly. And so that's not, it's not that you lied to her.
Yeah.
Just, and I guess Pops must have snitched because he must have told her that you knew.
Yeah.
What happened? I told her
nothing. Like, sometimes even when we talk about secrets, and to me, secrets come from shame, and shame is a lie. Shame builds up in your mind, right? You may have something that you think is wrong with you, or you done that's wrong, that if you told people would understand and probably be like, ain't that big deal. Or I did that too. I used to think like that as well. Like, even our first segment, I told you all something that I was ashamed of for a long time, that I used to harbor a lot of jealousy to a lot of content creators that I felt like were lesser than me. And that was me building something up in my mind. And not only was I building that up, not talking to anyone about it and then not learning anything from it, I also was keeping it a secret, therefore smiling in some people's faces years ago and really looking at them like, and so it's not a lie, but you are being, you're not being truthful, at least to yourself. So so I don't know, like everyone has a secret, but those things can eat you up. Mm-hmm. They can eat you up. You know what I mean? And they are like lies in a way, because if anything, you're lying to yourself. In some cases.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't always think I don't think everything is everybody's business. I don't think everybody needs to know
not everybody's business, right?
Everything. And whether or not somebody has a right to know something I think is a very tricky question, right? Like your mother asked you, like, who are you, right? To judge, jury, and execute whether I could handle this information, whether or not I deserve to have this information. Right. At the same time, when that secret is yours, and it was yours,
right?
That's a right that you have. You exercise the right to choose whether or not somebody else needs to hear it. You can talk back and forth all day about whether or not they deserve to hear it, right? It's a lot of things that a lot of people deserve to know.
Right.
But don't necessarily need to know.
Right.
How we divulge what's one versus the other, I do think is based on experience we have with that person.
That is a fact. If I tell you something, if I know you react a certain way, I might not
tell you.
Or I might even tell you in a way that isn't, I might soften the blow because I know how you react to certain things. That's true. That's true.
I have some secrets. Right?
We all do.
Of course.
Yeah.
But like, situations like, okay, I know something about someone who is related to someone else. This person holds that person in very high regard.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something they did to that person. It doesn't directly affect that person. But if that person knew, it would break their heart for two reasons. One, because they're under the assumption that this person tells them everything. And then they don't have these secrets, which is not the case.
Yeah.
And two, possibly because I know and they don't. And they believe that they have that relationship, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of not saying something to this person because it would ruin the relationship that they have with this other person, right? Let's say I told them and it didn't. Let's say I told them and then they had a conversation about it and it was like, you should have just told me, blah, 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 whatever. Right. They got over it and it was fine.
Right.
It can either be that or it could be the complete opposite.
Opposite direction.
Yeah. Never talk to each other again. Never. If those are the two options, right? At least in my head, those are the two options. If one of those options is they talk it out and everything is fine between them, then what difference does it make right now if everything is currently fine between them? Right? Now, there's always, again, there's regret, there's hindsight, there's whatever, right? It could be that it comes out somewhere along the lines and somewhere along the lines, somebody finds out that I knew.
Right?
Right? And now they mad at me. They cool with them and they mad at me like your mother was mad at you.
Right.
She wasn't mad at your father. She was mad at you.
Yeah.
Right? So was mad at me.
It's not your story to tell.
I'm not keeping it to protect myself, though, right? Because I've decided that protecting them from the possibility of them not having a friend, right? Because it's not like this person isn't a friend or isn't a great friend to them. They're great friends. You see what I'm saying? They really are. They're great friends.
Yeah.
Clearly, this person just doesn't tell you everything like you think. right? Like word for word. Oh man, we best friends. We tell each other everything. It's nothing I don't know about so and so.
You sit there, your face kind of go like,
yeah.
Why destroy that?
Right.
Why wreck that?
Right.
Because to me, there's a part of me that feels like for me to give that information would be selfish on my part because it would ruin that work. I'm almost 100% positive it would ruin it, right? And if it didn't ruin it, then what difference does it make? Because they're already good right now.
Good
you see what I'm saying? So why throw something into the ring? You know what I'm saying? Like, why throw meat in the ring? For two people fight over. Well, right now they're getting along great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if it meant that at the end of it, let's say it did come out somehow, they did talk to each other and it was divulged that I was aware and didn't say anything, that person was mad at me. I feel like it's better that they be mad at me
than the other person.
Be mad at them because they've been friends for like decades.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's not your story to tell. So the thing is, like you get the knowledge, and it's like whatever you've been entrusted with or whatever. But then
that's minding your business.
But then when the other person tells them,
part of it is I know what I know because the other person, even though I'm not as close to that person, felt comfortable enough to tell me. So if I go back and tell that person, then now I'm also betraying this. You see what I'm saying? So
absolutely. Like, so maybe not minding your business, but it's keeping a secret that was told to you. It's not for you to go tell the other person just because I know this. That's like with people, you know, that I love the folks that walk around. I keep it real. I just keep it real all the time. I say what I got. I hate those people drive me crazy because you feel like you are judge and jury to everyone. I am so righteous that I need to just tell everybody everything. And sometimes your idea of what the truth is subjective. It's not even true. It's just something that because when you're talking about, that's the risk of playing that telephone game. Someone told me something, now I told you, and then you told, and then it comes back a mess. Right. It's further from the truth than it ever could have been. You know what I mean? So you do have to be careful about that. I don't see that as lying, though. I see that as, you know what? Somebody entrusted me with something,
keeping a secret.
Yeah. And mind you, I guess I keep wanting to say minding your business, but it's not literally that. But that's just how I feel. Like it's like, you know what? You told me something.
Staying in your lane.
Staying in your lane. There you go, Joke. Staying in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
So when is it right to come out of your lane? If you chose to come out of your lane, are you justified?
If the information
can you stand behind, well, I don't keep lies. I don't tell lies. Right. So like if that person asked me, hey, did such and such happen with so and so? Right? At that point, am I now obligated to keep the secret or am I obligated to tell the truth? You see what I'm saying?
You're in a rock and a hard place. Like literally,
you're in a rock and a hard place. Because on one hand, yes, but on the other hand, no, which is a crazy answer. I understand that, but it's.
I gonna say we didn't get anywhere, bro.
Yeah, we didn't get anywhere because it really. But this is where context matters.
Yes and no.
Hard place for sure, and your lane is here. But no, the context matters because what did they tell you, right? Like, if what you told me is something that could be like detrimental to this person, whatever that may be on whatever level, right? It's something that can hurt.
Like from a straight up, like this person has some like on medication for certain mental kind of like, you know, whatever. And so like the possibility of them, I don't want to say jumping off the deep end. Like that might be like saying a little much, but like the possibility of them reading even more into it than it really is. You know what I'm saying? In the first place, and it doing something to them mentally, personally, is way more dangerous, and not worth disturbing the peace that they currently have. Right?
I agree. That's the context I'm looking for, because again, if it's a person that's a reasonable person, and you know they found out somebody was talking about them behind their back, and they came to me and was like, "Yo, did so and so say this to you too?" I'd have to go, you know what? Yeah, I didn't want to come to gossiping. I didn't want to start gossiping, so I didn't come to you with it. But yes. But if it's a situation where the person that is being talked about or whatever the secret's being told about, if they find out it's going to do them harm and it going back to that, then I don't feel like it's on me to disturb the peace just to make myself feel good but I told the truth. I don't see
I kept it
how that's
real.
beneficial. Huh?
I kept it real. I told the truth. I kept
Yeah,
it real.
and that's what I'm saying. That keep it real, those keep it real people
Keep
drive
it
me
real.
crazy. Those are the people that be like, well, I was just being real. I'm sorry. No, but you ended up hurting this person. Like this, all right, this person told me something, but like you said, if it's disturbing their peace, why are we telling why? What's the point?
It's a lot of a lot of times when people get into we'll call it a verbal conflict, because it might be an argument, it might just be a discussion where they don't agree. There's a difference, right? When people are in a verbal conflict, a lot of times what happens is something someone says puts the other person on defense.
Right.
We get beyond actually even griping or having an argument about the original concept.
Yep.
Now we're arguing about whether or not you lied to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So that person comes and says, hey, so and so say this, or do you know about blah blah blah? Yeah, I know. Right? And that could very quickly spin into, why ain't tell me? How come you got it out, whatever, right? And now it is a thing between you and them, and it's not even about what the original issue is. Now there's two issues, right? Or there's three issues, right? And people have a tendency to go on defense immediately, right? And get to a place where they're offended, kind of like where your mother was. Like your mother was offended.
Yeah.
You didn't tell, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she felt like you assumed what was okay for her to hear or what she could or couldn't handle, right? That is technically the same thing I'm doing, right? If I don't say anything to this person, right, I'm not saying anything because I know that they're in a peaceful place right now. Yeah. And I don't want to disturb that peace for them, right? Yeah. But that's me making a decision for them, for me, right?
Yes.
They could very well be like, who are you to decide whether or not I can handle hearing whatever?
Yeah.
The matter is, I'm nobody except the person who had the information and the person who's allowed to decide with and what I do with that information.
Yeah.
And I chose not to try to take that away.
Keep it to myself.
You see what I'm saying?
Either way, you're making the decision that's best for you. You're right. Like if I choose to just tell a person, it's because I just wanted to tell them and it made me feel good that I got it off my chest or told this person, kept it real. But also if I keep it to myself, I'm also avoiding drama and not. So either way, it's a selfish decision. But guess what? Here's the real thing in life. Sometimes you have to be selfish.
Correct.
Oh, that's facts.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. Sometimes you just do. I mean, it's
no two ways about that. Sometimes selfishness is self-preservation.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's an important thing to understand. That sometimes that's about keeping your own peace.
Yeah.
Right? Some people can't handle keeping a secret, harboring something, feeling like they're around somebody and they know something they don't know, people sweating and getting anxiety and whatever. If you're that person and you need to get it out of your system, that's a very different reason for telling it. Because there are some people who won't tell it just because they know.
Yeah.
I know that you don't.
They'll find out. They'll find out. Like, oh, I got the tea on.
They like. They just want. They like the drama. They like to just. Oh, I'm gonna tell them because and you could cloak it in because they deserve to know. No, I wanted to start some, and that's why I did it. Period.
Every miserable person I know loves company. They love for other people to be miserable. They love to be the bringer of bad news. They love to know something that would ruin something for that person. And they love to get it out in the open, whether they tell it directly to them or they just say it somewhere so that now it's out
everybody is out there with it.
So that they can enjoy somebody else also being miserable.
Yeah.
That's the real thing. Like there are people who just, nobody wants to be miserable and alone. Some people are miserable because they're alone.
Yes.
So when you can't undo whether or not other people around you are also alone, you can throw some misery away. That's what a lot of people do. It's interesting because I think we're taught growing up that lying just isn't okay.
Yeah.
That it's not ever the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm positive that I've said it. As a matter of fact, I know one of them listening right now. I'm positive that I've said that. But the reality of it is there's a high likelihood that you're going to come across things that are, one, either actual need to know. right?
Mm-hmm.
Need to know basis. Or things that are simply going to be hurtful and unnecessary.
Yeah.
To tell. And so even if that person asks you directly, sometimes even then it might be better to just be like,
nah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah,
I
I wasn't in that. I didn't hear nothing.
What was
I don't
it?
mean it's gonna come back to haunt you. I mean, I don't mean it's gonna come back to haunt you, but
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, man. We're gonna table that one. Listen, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
It's always
before we get out of here, one more time, I want you guys to tell people where they can go and find you. I'm gonna start with you, Adam.
Yep.
Let the people know where they can go and they can find you and follow you and watch you and so forth.
All right, so we're gonna do it like this. You can go to my social media, MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam, and you can click my link tree and you can find all of my stuff. You can find the podcast, you can find the movie, you can find the other podcasts, you can find my TikTok. All of them are very active. I'm on there every day doing things, and I like to keep the conversation going. MSR_Adam.
Perfect. Jokes?
Two easiest ways, honestly. If you go to Loading Snacks, there's all posts in there. You'll see me somewhere involved, and that'll just take you directly to me at New Joker 89. But it's all on Loading Snacks. It's all right there.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And look, mine is on the screen, but if you happen to be listening instead of watching, it's at Empty Shells, MTSHELLZ. That's across all social media. It's probably the easiest way to find me. If I'm not there, then I'm, like Joke said, I'm with Loading Snacks. So I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to this. I love to hear y'all comments. I want to know what y'all think about each and every one of these subjects. So please feel free to drop the comments. Just let me know. Tell me all about it. Tell them all about it. Matter of fact, go on their pages and tell them all about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would love for you to do. With that, we're gonna wrap this one up. Hey, Jokes, you want to try it?
Oh man, you
hold
up. Let's just try. So just remember, y'all. Just because you have a well thought out, fuck that part right.
Nope, you messed it up. So listen. Just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea. With that, I'm out. Toodles and loot.